consignment material. Okay, the first thing is you need to have a material master. Next is you need to have an info record for your consignment material. Okay, so next you need to have a source list also similar to your pipeline. Okay, so you source list for material. Okay, so the fourth thing is you need to, yes, info record and source list are also required for this. Yes. Okay, so next what we need to do, we need to create a PO. Okay, so we would be creating a PO. Create PO with your item category K. Okay, item category K, that is consignment. For your subcontracting we had an item category of L. Okay, for subcontracting we had an item category of L, and for your consignment we would be having a item category of K. Okay, so once this is done, your ordering process is finished. Okay, so next what you would be doing is you would create a GR. Okay, with movement type 101K, with movement type 101K, that is it goes to the consignment stock. Okay, it goes to the consignment stock. Okay, see here we are simulating a this one. Okay, scenario. Okay, that is the reason why I am taking with consignment stock. Okay, in the real-time scenario I would be giving a storage location to a particular vendor. Okay, so he stores in that, and whenever I require I make a PO and I transfer the material from that storage location to my own storage location. Okay, so that is done by.
But we still need a goods receipt at that time too, right?
No, not required.
No.
Not required. Not required. Because the material
Is already present at the storage location.
yes, the material is already present at the storage location. No.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Still, the this one is required. The goods receipt is required because we need to settle it. Means whatever transfers we do with the stock without a PO, we cannot settle it.
Okay.
So, but this goods receipt is required for us. Goods receipt is required for us, and then we would be transferring it to our own stock. Okay, to a particular storage location, we can say.
So how is the first transaction handled in real time? I mean, first the vendor sends all the material at a storage location, right?
Yes, he
The
sends
first transaction.
yes, the first transaction is like we are showing it in the system that we have received this material. Okay, and later if required we can transfer it from the own storage location. This is an additional step, I can say. The consignment stock to own stock, transfer posting of your consignment stock to your stock, this will be done by your 411K. Okay, so let us see this first. Let us complete this. Okay, we will see in the system. Probably what I presume is when it goes for 101K, when we do 101K, okay, so we would be updating some stock in the consignment, under the consignment. Okay, so once it comes under the consignment, then we would be moving it to the our own storage location.
Okay.
Okay, so let us see this. Let us run a cycle and let us see this. Okay, so next you would be transfer posting to own stock from 411K. Okay, so these are the steps which we execute for your consignment procurement. And next, finally, you settle your payments, or you generate your invoice through MRKO. This is the transaction which is used. Okay, yesterday we did for the pipeline. Okay, so it is the same. It is the same where we would be doing it. That is with the transaction code MRKO. Okay, so now let me create a material and start doing this. So in the special procurement part, you need to give it as a consignment. See here, this is the one, because when you run an MRP, the purchase requisitions will be generated. So 1567 is our material. Okay, 1567. Okay, so now let me go on maintain an info record for this M11. See here, we need to select the info record consignment. Okay, yesterday for our pipeline we had selected the pipeline info record. Okay, MRP uses special procurement type K for material. Okay, okay, so gross price is there, info record is created. Now let us go and maintain a source list. Okay, so source list has been created. Now let us go and create a purchase order. Okay, so here let us go to the item category, and you can see consignment, it is K. Okay, for your consignment it is K. So next you can go to 1567, order 10 pieces. So I enter my purchase group. See, we don't enter net price in the system. Okay, for your purchase order we would not be entering the net price. Why? Because we are doing it for the consignment, and only when I consume it I would be paying them. In your purchase order there would not be any price mentioned. Okay, see here, I'll just click on check button. That net price will gray out. It's already grayed out, I believe. See here, this is already grayed out. It is not allowing me to edit this field or enter any value in this field. Okay, so one more thing what we need to notice is no price. Net price will not be given in your PO. Okay, so then how is the invoice posted, or how is the payment made? That is based on the price which you give in your info record. Okay, so based on that price, the price you will make the payment, and that is by your MRKO transaction. Yesterday we did, right? So for your pipeline, that is the procedure. Okay, so now let me just click on check button. Any discrepancies? Okay, save.
And we cannot use MIRO to
No,
pay?
no. For your pipeline and for your this one consignment, it is
Consignment.
MRKO, because both of that doesn't have prices in the PO. Okay, so for one process you don't create a PO at all for your pipeline material. Okay, so for the consignment you create a PO, but you would not be entering the price. So that is the reason we go for MRKO.
Okay.
Okay, so 19318. Okay, so now this is the important step for us, because we need to know whether it goes for uh, the GR part. Okay, so I'll just go to MMBE, that is to check the stock. 1567. Let me execute this. So at the plant level we don't have any stock, it is blank. Okay, so now let me go and make a GR, that is goods receipt. Okay, I go to MIGO. You can do it in MB01 also. Let us do it in MIGO. Okay, so goods receipt, 19318. Okay, it is 101. So here about the movement type we need to check, is it 101K or 101? No, it is 101 only, but when you say enter, I'll show you how the consignment or the item category K is taken up. Okay, see here at the bottom you can see 101K, that is GR for consignment stock. This is a GR for consignment stock, not to our stock. Okay, so this, what basically what we are doing is we are doing a GR for the stock, to upload the stock in the consignment under the consignment. Okay, I'll say SFRM. Okay, I'll say SFRM and I'll say enter. Okay, so here material, say this is item. Okay, quantity, where, purchase order data, partner. Now let me just hold on, this is, I'll just click on check button now. Purchasing info record not found in purchase organization 1000. Hold on. See, this is the reason, because for me the purchase organization, uh, I have given a reference purchase organization of 1000. Okay, so if I remove this, probably we would be in a position to overcome that error. Okay, assign standard purchase organization to plant. Okay, so this standard purchase organization will come into picture only in your consignment and your pipeline and also in your stock transfers. Okay, if several purchase organizations procure for a certain plant, okay, then you can define one of them as the standard purchasing organization for the transactions for your pipeline, consignment and stock transfers. Okay, in source determination for stock transfers and consignment, the system automatically utilizes the standard purchase organization. Okay, so that is the reason why we are getting this error. Okay, so it's not mandatory to assign the standard purchasing organization. So it is asking me to maintain an info record in your purchasing organization 1000, because we have given 1000 as the standard purchase organization for your purchase organization. Okay, so now let us try to I'll try to remove that. Okay, see, there are two ways. One, you can remove it, or what you can do is you can extend the material to 1000 plant and create an info record with respect to 1000. At that time you need to extend all the data for your 1000 purchase organization, including your vendor master. Okay, so I'll just say this as SFPO only. Okay, so this is not required. Assign purchase organization to reference purchase organization. This is not required. I'm just checking. Do we have? No, we don't have anything here. Okay, see, that is one. And now let me come out of this and create a PO again. Save document first. MIGO. Okay, at the bottom I need to check this. Okay, fine. So since we have given our own purchase organization as a standard purchase organization, probably we would be able to post this document. Okay, so that was the reason why we had an error previously. Okay, so document is posted. Now let us go and check the stock. Okay, so I'll go to SFRM. Okay, so I'll say execute. 10 numbers should be there. See here, 10 numbers has gone to your vendor consignment. Okay, it has gone to vendor consignment. That is, it is there under the vendor's ownership, I can say. Okay, so now this needs to be issued. Okay, so this needs to be issued, or there is one more way where you can transfer it to your own stock and then issue it. Okay, see, one is you can directly issue it from the vendor consignment. Issue directly from vendor consignment stock. Okay, the second one is you can transfer post to your stock and then issue. Okay, so there are two ways of doing it. Okay, so if I want to issue it from the standard from the vendor consignment stock itself, I'll go with 201K. Okay, if I want to transfer post to my stock and then issue, then we should go with 411K and then do again a 201K. Okay, when I say 201K, this is issuable with respect to your cost center. Okay, so this is 201K is issue of consignment stock to your cost center.
So we don't create a PO for owning it, right?
No, we don't. We would transfer it. We would transfer or we would issue it directly from there.
And based on the usage, we just pay it to the vendor.
Yes. Okay, so now what we'll do is, let us follow the second step, because this covers both transferring it to my own stock and then we would issue it. Okay, so now mm, so it's MB 1B transfer posting. So movement type would be 411K. Transfer posting consignment to own. Okay, so I'll say enter vendor. He is the vendor. Okay, this is what 1567, right? 567. Let me just, yes, this is 1567.
So here we cannot use MIGO, right?
No,
Or
you can
can
use.
we?
We can use it. We can use it. We can do it in MIGO also. Not an issue. I'll show you with MIGO.
Okay. Okay.
See, MIGO and MB1B, or MIGO and MB1A, MB1C, MB1B. Okay, so previously we had three transactions. Okay, hold on. First one was your MB1A. Okay, so second one was your MB1B, and the third one was your MB1C. Okay, so all together, all these three transactions combined, it is MIGO. Okay, we call your MIGO as enjoy transaction. Okay, because this MIGO started from 4.6C version. Okay, it started from 4.6C version. Previously below 4.6C we used to use only these three T codes for your uh, transfer posting, stock receiving for other, and your goods issue. Okay, and there was one more transaction also, that is MB01. This was for your goods receipt. So all these four combined together we are having in your MIGO. Okay, so MIGO is a universal transaction now. We don't use any MB01, MB1A, MB1B, MB1C. Okay, but people who had started working from 4.6C, or who are still comfortable with these, they can use it. But SAP has not removed it from the transactions list. Okay, they still exist and you still can transact in that. Okay, so that is the difference between your MIGO and MB1B. So material document. Okay, so here let me just select your 411K. One five six seven. Plant is SFP1. This is SFRM. Okay, special stock. No, this is not a special stock. Okay, we'll put it with the consignment K. This itself is sufficient. 411K itself is sufficient. Let me just press enter. Okay, so item is fine. Quantity, let us specify the quantity. I would say some 4 numbers. Enter. Okay, so this is transfer posting consignment to own. your account assignment. Let me just click check. Enter a vendor for special stock key. Okay, vendor 91 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, so the document is fine. Let us try to post it. Okay, so now the document is posted. Let us see the stock implications. Okay, so we had transferred 4 numbers from your vendor consignment to our own stock. Okay, say refresh. See here, you got your stock into 4 and here it is 6. Okay, so now you can directly go and issue this. Okay, so that is, if I say goods issue, I'll say goods issue other, and if I say 201K, see consumption for cost center from consignment stores. SFP1, this is SFRM. Okay, so now say 1567, quantity as 2, where, okay fine, partner, account assignment. So account assignment I can say SFC1, that's it, the cost center, and your GL would be some 1000 is what I gave on that day. Okay, so let me just check. Enter a vendor for special stock key. No, purchasing info record not found in purchase organization SFPO.
Is this the same vendor where we bought the material from?
Yeah, he's the same vendor. No, hold on. It should be 9101, sorry. 1 second. I'll take up the GL account number. Okay, ME22. Four followed by 5 zeros. Fine. Okay, so now this is fine. Let me just post it. Okay, so now let me just display this. $31.57. So what was the quantity which we changed? It was two numbers. Okay, so now before refreshing the stock we have done 201k. So now let us see whether it's going to get changed in the 6 numbers or in this 4 number. Okay, so if it gets changed in 6 numbers, I'll tell you why it is getting changed in 6 numbers. Okay, that is under the vendor consignment. Okay, so if the stock gets changed in your 4 numbers, then we will see. I'll tell you why it has got changed in 4 numbers. Okay, I'm just refreshing this. Okay, so this is getting changed in the vendor consignment. Okay, this is getting changed in vendor consignment because we had used movement type 201k. Okay, if I had used 201, then it would have taken from my from my store. Okay, the one with the quantity which we posted from the consignment stock to our stock. Okay, but here since I have taken it as 201k, that is directly from the vendor consignment, two numbers have been reduced. Okay, so any confusion in this?
No.
Okay, so if you want to issue the material from your own stock, that is the quantity which you transfer posted, okay, then you simply needs to do a 201. Okay, let us do that also. I'll show you. Okay, we need to remove this. Say 1567, quantity as 1, SF P1, and this is SFRM. See, so I am going to save this now. Material quantity, where post. So now let me just go and check this stock. So now both of them are 4-4. See here, this SFRM came down because we issued it from the stock which has been transfer posted. Okay, so this is the cycle for your consignment procurement. Okay, so further, if you want to settle it, you can settle it with respect to MRKO, the same which we did yesterday. Okay, so many 25th. These are the two documents which has not been settled. Okay, so what we can do is we can just go settle. No tax information found. That is because in the info record I have not given the input tax. That is the reason. Okay, so now if I just go and to ME12, enter. So here I need to give the tax code, then only this will work, or else it will not work. So MEMRKO. So now if I go for settling, see here all the three transactions has been completed and you have got the invoice numbers. Okay, so probably there is some issue from the finance end, that is why we are not getting this invoice, this one generated. Okay, so it's all 5051 followed by this one. Basically it should be 123, something like that, your invoicing document, but this is the procedure how you settle it. Okay, so some number ranges, if they don't configure for, see here, for the existing 2015 the number ranges are not there. That is the reason why the invoicing numbers are not getting generated. Okay, so if you have worked in the finance department, you can see for every year the invoice number ranges, they keep changing. Okay, so here also in 2015 it has not been configured. That is the reason why we would be getting this error. Okay, no message was found for partner and company. This is fine. Once you generate the invoice numbers, it will get done automatically. Okay, so this is the
So why we have these three? Isn't it? It should be one.
no, this is right. Hold on, I'll show you. This three, see, one we moved 4 pieces from this one. This is the first one is yesterday's transaction for the pipeline what we did. Okay, so the second and third are for today's transaction. Two we moved from four we moved from consignment stock, okay, to our own, and the other two was from directly we moved, right? So these are the outstanding transactions which needs to be settled.
Okay.
Okay, so this the what I can say, the search criteria I had given it as a vendor 91 followed by 91 one vendor. Okay, so for him whatever the outstanding transactions are there or whatever things needs to be settled, everything gets displayed. Individually you can go and select and settle it. Okay, so this is about your consignment and your pipeline. No, nothing. Only thing is you need to take care of your purchase organization, whether that is the standard one or the uh, not the standard one. Okay, so we went and I changed it, right? This one, assign standard purchase organization to a plant. sorry, it's SFP. Okay, so previously it was 1000. Why 1000? Because since we copied from 1000 purchase or plant, everything whatever data it has got, it will copy the same. So you need to come and change this purchase organization to SFPO, the standard purchase organization. Okay, but to be frank, these are very rarely followed processes. Your consignment, I don't think not all many business uses this procedures. Okay, so this is about your
Subcontracting is important, right?
subcontracting is important. Okay, subcontracting is important. If you work for an oil and gas industry, then your pipeline is important. Okay, and your stock transport orders, stock transfers, which we discussed. Okay, all this storage location, one step to one step, or two step, plant to plant. Okay, all these are important. Even your stock without delivery and with delivery is also important. Okay, so anyways, let us go through the documents for this, your stock transports with delivery and without delivery, all this. Let us I'll explain you what exactly we are doing, and later on we will I'll share with you. Okay, you can keep this as a reference and proceed further. Okay, so now first let us go with your without delivery part. Okay, so without delivery is nothing but whenever, see, this stock transport orders are always linked with your sales and distribution. Okay, so we would be selling your material or your this one from one company to another company. Okay, so that is your stock transport order. Okay, so when you say without delivery, then a delivery is not created in your sales and distribution to issue that material to a uh, company or to a plant, whatever it is. Okay, so the basic thing what we need to keep in mind is, from materials management part of view, we need to keep in touch, keep in mind that what is the document type that should be there for your stock transfers without delivery and with delivery. Okay, so in the standard we usually use UB. Okay, that is your purchasing. Okay, so UB is the standard document type. Okay, which is used in your in the PO. Okay, so this UB would have an item category of U, and the text U in the sense it is a stock transfer, I can say. Okay, so hold on, I'll take you through the configuration part. So materials management, see, in the purchase order document type we had NB, and we copied NB and we created our own this one, what I can say, the document types. So for your stock transport orders, you need to use the document type UB. Okay, you need to copy them and you need to use them. Okay, so purchase orders, define document type, UB. So this is the one which we are talking here, stock transport orders. Okay, so for this stock transport orders, the allowed item category should be U. This is a stock transfer. Okay, and you can also link your purchase requisitions also for this. Okay, based on the your requirement. Okay, so now what he says is, he says you should have a item category use, and you can link the purchase requisitions document types also, the one which we see. Okay, and once this order type you have created, that is your own order type, purchase order type or purchase document type, okay, then you need to assign your delivery types and checking rules. Okay, so delivery type and checking rule, the purpose of this activity is to specify whether an SD delivery, that is sales and distribution delivery, is to be created in case of a PO with a certain combination of supplying plant and document type. Okay, and that is done at your this path. Okay, I'll show you. Wait, where is my assign delivery type and checking rule? This is the place where you do it. Okay, so here you are going to assign whether it requires a shipping this one or not. Okay, that is the supplying plant, the document type, everything would be given. Okay, so this is without delivery. So once you give, hold on, I'll show you. So what you need to do is, for your UB document type, see here, you have given it here. Okay, you need to specify your plant. Okay, so now if I want to check my plant, let me just check SFP1. You need to give it here. Okay, so once you give, then it will say whether it is a what, it is a SD, it requires an SD delivery or it doesn't require an sales and distribution delivery. Okay, replenishment delivery or replenishment cross company. So something of this kind. All these configurations will be taken care by the sales and distribution people. Okay, so for the your reference, I'm going to share these two documents. Okay, so that you can keep this reference, and whenever any scenario of this type comes, you can configure this. Okay, this is a standard SAP document which we have. Okay, so I would not be in a position to take much on this. Okay, so since it requires integration part, I would not be in a position to take much on this. Okay, so we will I'll take up the this one. I'll share you the document, then you can refer that. Okay, so this is about our special procurement part. Okay, so next let us move on to the invoicing part. Okay, so invoicing part is the last step in your procure to pay cycle. Okay, so everything is done, then only we would be having the invoice verification. Okay, so now let me go to the configuration part first. There are certain configurations which we need to see. That is the standard ones only. Okay, see, one thing what we need to keep in mind is all the configurations relevant to the invoicing will be done at your company code level. It is not at the plant level. Okay, so the invoicing is always done at the company code level, and most of the times this will be taken care by your FI team also. Okay, so your accounts payable and accounts receivable is most of the times will be taken care by your FI. Okay, so now I'll go to the first part, that is define attributes of system messages. Okay, so this is a place where you can set your message types. Okay, so based on that you can also set whether it is an error, online, whatever it is. Yes, you're true, you see, basically finally it depends upon the business whether it will be done by FI team or it will be taken care by your MM team. Okay, all the, see, at the day-to-day activities, none of the purchasing departments go and post an invoice. Okay, it's finally your finance department which does the posting of invoice. Okay, again, with respect to the configurations or with during the implementation, there are certain what I can say basics which you need to do it from the MM side, and the rest of the things will be taken care from FI, that is your finance side. Okay, even if you don't want to take up your FI is take up this invoice, then finance team would be able to config whatever the requirement is there for invoice verification. Okay, so it's like your MRP, the consumption based planning. Either you can do it or your production planning guy can do it. Okay, so I just gave an example of that scenario. Okay, so now this is the place where you can configure the system messages. Okay, so next you can give the tax jurisdiction. Okay, so this is again, it will be taken care by the this tax jurisdiction is the one where you can give it while creating your plant. Okay, this is the screen which we saw during the creation of plant. You can go here to the details. If you click here, you can see the in the drop down you can see tax jurisdiction. Okay, so this is the place where you can give your tax jurisdiction. Okay, and this in this place, if you give the tax jurisdiction, based on the jurisdiction, the tax codes can be defined. Okay, which will be taken care by your finance team. Okay, so next you have configure automatic postings. This is nothing but your OBYC settings, the one which we did in the account determination. Okay, it's the same. Sorry. Okay, so this is the same which we did in our account determination. Okay, anyways, there we have taken up and we have noticed what all changes or what all configurations to be done for a new material and for a new valuation class. Okay, so the same way the same thing holds good here also. Okay, but that is for your goods receipt, and this is the same will be done for your invoice receipt also. Okay, so next you can go to incoming invoice. Okay, so this is a place where you assign the number ranges. Okay, so if you take up your logistics document, you can assign the number ranges, invoicing documents, status. Okay, so for 2015 we don't have any number ranges defined. Okay, if you want we can go and define this. This is the normal number range config part. Okay, so next tax treatment in your invoice reduction. Okay, so how do you make a tax treatment in your invoice reduction? This is one important means like whether you want to post it in your the existing document, or you want to post it in a complaint document. All these things will be taken care. That is, see, it is at the company code level. As I told, your reduction, the all your transactions, okay, is done at your company code level. Your invoicing transactions are all done at your company code level. Okay, so if I go with my company code SF00, see here it says tax reduction in a complaint document. We are not doing it in the original invoice document. Okay, so what is your invoice reduction? What exactly is your invoice reduction? This is nothing but you are going to reduce the price in your invoice. Okay, so you are going to reduce the price in your invoice. Okay, so now for example, I make a PO. Okay, I make a PO for 100 pieces. Okay, rupees 10 per each. Okay, 10 per piece. Okay, rupees 10 each or rupees 10 per piece I can say. Okay, so now the delivery or the GR what he has given, goods receipt, is only for 70. Okay, goods receipt is only for 70, and then my price should become 700 as per the PO, right? So this is the one. Okay, so now when an invoice is sent, okay, he says 1000 pieces, 1000 rupees, and he says in the invoice that all 100 pieces have been delivered, but the received or the delivered quantity is only how much? It is only 70. Okay, so now you need to reduce your this one, what, your payment. You need to post, you need to reduce your payment for 700 only. It's not for 1000. So that is your invoice reduction. So you would be posting an invoice document only for 70 pieces, not for 100 pieces. Okay, so now if I take up the accounting movements in the system, okay, how it will be, your GR, okay, your invoice, okay, your GR and your invoice, these are the two process. Okay, so once that is done, next you have your stock account. Okay, then you have your GR IR clearing account. Okay, so next, once you have your GR IR clearing account, then you have your vendor account. Okay, you have your vendor account. So when I say GR, it will be 700 plus, that is, it's a debit. Okay, so the same offsetting entry will be done at your GRIR clearing account, that is 700 minus. Okay, so when you will be posting an invoice for your 700 plus only. Okay, so in your vendor account it would be 1000. Okay, so in your vendor account it would be 1000, that is, it says the invoice to be posted for 1000. Okay, so it says the invoice should be posted for 1000, and when you do a clearing account, that is when you do a reduction for your invoice reduction, it will be how much? In your invoice reduction will be 300 plus. Okay, but once you do the invoice reduction, automatically a credit memo will also be raised. Okay, a credit memo for 300 will be raised. Okay, a credit memo for 300 will be raised for your vendor, because we are expecting another 30 pieces worth of 300. Okay, so this is your invoice reduction. Okay, that is, you would be posting the invoice for 700 pieces, not for your 1000, 700 rupees, not for your 1000 rupees. Okay, so this is about the invoice reduction in your invoice process. Okay, so any doubts in this?
So it's possible that there is no invoice reduction in case if we receive whatever is requested, right?
Yes.
So if we requested 70 and we received 70, then there is no invoice reduction.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Okay, So when this invoice reduction is posted, okay, you would be having two documents generated in the system. Okay, so that is, the first document contains with the actual quantity and the values. Actual quantity and the values. Okay, that is 100 pieces. Sorry, when I say actual quantity and the values, it is 70 and 700 in our scenario. Okay, so the second document will be having your credit memo details. Will be having your credit memo details. That is this 300, wherein we would be still expecting the invoice. Sorry, we would be expecting an invoice and also the material. Okay, the amount payable to the vendor is the first only. Okay, so it is the first quantity only, 70 pieces, 700 rupees. That is the amount which is paid to the vendor. Okay, so these are the set documents, means this is the process for your invoice reduction part. Okay, so whatever transaction you do in your invoice, that gets updated in your PO history also, in your PO history tab, that is in your purchase order. Okay, but in your purchase order it will be posted for only 70 to 700, 70 pieces and 700 rupees. That is the that is about your invoice reduction. Okay, so next, if I move on further, you can give the reasons for your invoice reduction. Okay, so you can say damaged goods, scrap, whatever. Okay, so based on your requirement you can give it. Okay, so most of the things, these are not followed, I can say. Okay, so it's all an option given. Okay, so maintain default values for tax codes, not required. This is one thing. Configure how exchange rate differences are treated. Okay, so this is one thing which we need to know. So exchange rate differences needs to be taken up. Okay, so that is from the at the time of goods receipt and the exchange rate at the time of invoice receipt. So based on yours, you can define whether it can be at the invoicing time or at the goods receipt, how it should be treated. That is the this one. Okay, so the exchange rate differences are calculated from the exchange rate at the time of invoice receipt and the assumed exchange rate which is valid for a specific reason. Okay, so hold on. So if I take up my company code, I have not given anything. I want to take up the actual ones. Okay, see here I have given the currency as 10. That is my company code currency. It will be treated in your company code currency only. It will not be treated in with your any of the other currency. See here, if I say F1, it is the other currency. Treatment of exchange rate differences in company code currency. If you set this field, then the settings in the ERD setting columns are no longer relevant. Yes, FI is more knowledgeable for your exchange rates. You're right. You're right. So that is why I initially told this is a joint activity between you and your FI team. Okay. So some you configure and some you don't configure. Okay. So next, how unplanned delivery costs are posted. Okay. To whether you want to have it in the distribute among invoice items, different GL lines, or distribute among invoice items including the planned delivery cost. Okay, so most of the time this is the first one is the standard practice. Okay, so we decide, hold on, let me take up my company code SF00. the second, see here it is says different GL line, that is see, that is basically they would ask you the concept of the invoice, how you would be reducing the invoice, how the invoice are posted, what are your credit memos. Okay, so that is the one, how you can represent. Okay, so next is you can say these are the basic configurations which I know, because I am not configuring anything here because it is all the standard. Once I copy from 1000 company code, everything gets copied from your for your company code also. Okay, just for the knowledge purpose I am saying I am just going through the configuration details also. Okay, so now in my company code it has been told like it is a different GL line, means the unplanned deliveries should go and get settled in different general ledgers. It's not the same general ledger where you would be settling your planned cost and the other costs. Okay, so this is the place where you can give. Okay, so next if I move on further, there is one more thing, that is configure vendor specific tolerances. Okay, so if you want to configure your vendor specific tolerances, it is done at the company code level, that is based on the payment you can give. Okay, so if I say SF00, okay, so see here you can give what all the acceptance. When there is a variance in the payment, what is the tolerance, till what tolerance you can post your invoice. Okay, so configuring here alone doesn't suffice the requirement. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to go and give them in your vendor master also. Okay, that is in your XK02. See here, this is the tolerance group where we need to give it. Okay, so then only your tolerances will be calculated or it will be controlled. Okay, settings for vendor specific parameters in invoice verification. Only one tolerance group can be assigned to a vendor in one company code. Okay, you cannot assign two different tolerance groups. Okay, for each tolerance group you can define by how much the actual value of an invoice can differ from the expected value and still be accepted by the system, whether the invoice can be automatically reduced. So this tolerance, whatever we configure in the invoice, okay, that tolerance needs to be come and given over here. Okay, so for your 450 you have no tolerances at all. Okay, some invoice reduction is for 50%. Okay, so if you go for other tolerance groups, you would be having different details. See here, this has got plenty of values. So what you can do is you can just give the tolerance group and check by posting the invoice. Okay, so this is one important configurations which we need to look in. Okay, so next you have activate direct posting to GL account. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, so this you would be activating for your direct posting to a GL. Okay, so when you post your material, when if you want to post something directly to a general ledger account through invoice, then you can go on. Yes, it is not good. It It is not good. You're absolutely right. It is not good. Okay, but you have an option. You have an option wherein you can go and do this direct posting to your general ledger account. Okay, so see, the main difference is when I go to MIRO screen, I'll show you. Wait. Okay, see, if you remove that direct posting to GL, you would not get this tab. Okay, you would not get this tab. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to save this. Save it. So now, if I just come out, and if I say MIRO, see here, you did not get the tab itself. We have removed it. Okay, so if you don't want to post it to your general ledger accounts directly, then you can remove it. Okay, so since this is a test system, this is active, but in your normal this one, it would not be active. Okay, so I'm reverting back the changes. Okay, so this is your this one, activate direct posting to GL account and material documents. Okay, so the next one is you can set up check for duplicate invoices at these two levels: your company code, your invoicing date, and the reference. Okay, so if there is any duplication of your invoices, you can control it by giving this 3-point check. Okay, so check company code, reference, and your invoicing date. Okay, so it is done for my company code also, I believe SF00. Yes, it is there. Okay, so you cannot post a duplicate invoice for this. Any one condition satisfies, then it will throw an error. It will not allow you to post. Okay, so this is about the invoice part. Variance types, no, not required. Invoicing blocks. Okay, so here you can set tolerance limits for your invoicing blocks. Okay, again this is also at your company code level SF00. Okay, so amount for item with order reference, without order reference. So there are certain conditions where you can go and set the this one tolerance. Okay, blanket pivot time limit exceeded. So if that is the case, what is the tolerance? So all these are your tolerances that is set for your price variance, sorry, for your invoice blocks. Okay, so even for your payment blocks also you can set few. Free for payment, block for payment. Anyways, this is used during the posting of your account payments. Okay. These are the settings which we basically concentrate on the during your invoice verification. Okay, so other than this, I cannot say much about this invoice verification. Yes, EDI, that is done through your message determination. Okay, so this basically is run by the programs. Okay, enter program and the parameters, EDI. Okay, so for your company code, if you want to have an EDI, okay, so why EDI is required? Any specific this one? Can you explain me the business scenario, like where we had used this EDI for invoicing, do we require EDI?
We can pay the vendor directly, right? If EDI is configured.
Yes, yes, you're true. You're true. That is, you're saying the direct debit method, right? Means once the
Yes.
this one. Okay. See, this again is will be taken care by FI for your automatic payments. Okay. They give the bank details. They go and give our company bank details, and once you run that payment, this cycle, okay, whatever the EDI has been configured or whatever automatic payment has been configured to the vendors, for them uh, it will be done. Okay, so this I would not be able to take up because this totally is relevant to FI, the EDI part and all. They are the ones who do the automatic and run the payment cycles. Okay, see, posting my invoice does not stop the FI, does not give the payment to the vendor, right? They should, the payment, the finance people should go and make the payment in their system. Okay, there is something called F-30 or FP30. I'll show you. Wait, there they make the payment. F-30, I believe. Yes. See, post with clearing. This is where they make the payment. Okay. So there is one more. Is exiting FP30, I believe. No, not FP30. FE11. No, not this. Anyways, they make payment. I am pretty sure they make payment with some F-30 or F-20. Okay. So once that is done, then only your EDI will be triggered. Unless and until I do that, I would not be able to trigger an EDI. Okay. So this is about the this one. What I can say. Invoice verification.
And how do we send these POs to the vendors? How do we integrate these POs to the vendors? Usually through third party, or how do we do
No,
it?
no. See, I had explained to you this, I believe. Anyways, we'll see. There is something called messages in the system. Okay. So once you make a PO, okay, hold on. Let me just go for it. Display the PO. So ME 21, 23, and okay, there is something called messages. Okay, so here you need to maintain whether you are going to print, whether you are going to send it through fax, external send is your email, okay, EDI, okay, you need to maintain this output method in the system. Okay, so that this output method is defined in your messages type. Okay, see here, if I go to output control, you have got,
Here also we have EDI, right?
yes, here also you have EDI. Here also you have EDI, but for your EDI to trigger, okay, you need to make changes in your smart form. I'll tell you, that is in your PO printout, the one which we see, right, the PO printouts. Okay, there in the smart form we need to make changes in the program. I'll tell you, hold on. Message types, see,
What's the most common you used? I mean, I heard, to my knowledge, like this one is the most common, right?
no, external send, that is through email ID. That is the most common.
Oh, really?
Yes, email ID is the most common, and now they have started using your iDocs, intermediate documents. Okay, so
And do we have to know anything about iDocs?
no, not necessarily required. Not necessarily required. Okay, see, SAP is so vast, like everything you cannot know. Okay, even till date, I have also not worked on iDocs. Okay, your
So
intermediate.
I can say that ABAP used to take care of this, right?
See, what you need to say is, if they say, have you worked on iDocs, then say, no, I have not worked on iDocs. Okay, and you can say that I have worked on external send, I have worked on the message types. Okay, and that is where the business used to send the POs to the this one to the vendors. You can say that.
Okay.
Okay, not mandatorily. See, in some projects, it may be big. The project in some projects you get an opportunity to work on one area, in some others you get an opportunity to work on another area. Okay, but we need to be very specific. If something other than this, whatever people ask, please say I have not worked.
Okay.
Okay, because this is more than sufficient. I am damn sure that interviewer cannot ask any other questions other than these topics. Okay, so uh, the printouts or the message types are configured here. Okay, so see here, you have got for your quotation, for your purchase orders, for your outline agreements, all you have. Okay, so if I go to my purchase order, so here you can maintain the message types for PO. See here, NEU is the message types which are used for a PO printout. Okay, so now if I just go to the details, this is the program which helps us to print the PO. Okay, that is in the if any changes are there in the PO, then this is the program which helps us to print the PO. Okay, so now if I go to default values or to the time, somewhere here you get a PO. Hold on. Okay, so mail title and text. This is very, very important. Okay, please keep this screen in mind for your any printouts. This is very, very important, this screen. Okay, so if you want to print a PO, okay, so then you would be using this program, okay, to print, and the smart form would be MEDRUCK. That is your printout of the PO. Whatever changes you make, that will be done in your MEDRUCK, MEDRUC. Okay, so for each of this one, the changes you would be doing it in your smart form. You copy it from the standard and you make the changes. You make the changes is nothing but your PO layouts. Like you put your logo, you put your company address. Okay, you want to how the net price should be shown or in the system or in the printout. All these things you would be doing it in your smart form. That is this MEDRUCK. Okay, so this is the one. Whenever you give any this one, what I can say, changes, or when you go for an implementation project. Okay, so if you want to communicate something related to your PO printouts or your schedule lines printout, you need to refer this. You need to refer this smart form, the programs, okay, and this. Okay, this screen you should be very familiar. This is why familiar, because you need to go and pick the program and the smart form names. Okay, so once you give this, the programming team will make the changes and give it to you. Okay, so this is about your messages in the system. Okay, so you can also make a fine-tuned control. That is, what is the this one output that needs to be determined when you want to execute. See, first time when you make a print, when you take a print, you would trigger this NEU as your message type. But when you make a change, if you want to trigger the same one or if you want to trigger a new output, then you can define this. For a change, you can give a different output so that you can go and notice that this is a changed printout. There are some changes in the system. Okay, so this is about the message type. So now,
And Chandra, I heard about two-way and three-way invoice verification. So can we do that in SAP, or how do we do it?
three-way invoice verification.
Yeah.
What does that mean, two-way and three-way? See, the one thing I showed you, right, that is for the duplication of invoicing check, we do that 3-point check. One is at your company.
Yeah, that's different.
That's different, right? Okay. Two-way and three-way.
Yeah.
What is the process for your two-way and three-way?
So basically we send a PO, right?
Yes.
So and then we receive goods. After that we do GR, right? So we verify the quantity and amount, is everything matches with what you send.
Yes.
I think that's two-way. And after we receive the invoice, we do it again. So it's called three-way. I heard it can be done somewhere in the system. I mean, in some I saw it.
See. I think we are talking about this, I believe. So we hold on. Let me just create a PO itself.
And Chandra, for some requirements,
Yeah.
they are asking the knowledge of ABAP. I mean, of course, we don't have a knowledge of ABAP, but how do we? What should we say? I mean, we don't know ABAP, but still,
No,
as a functional consultant, we don't need to know, right?
no, not required. See, now the market is getting saturated in such a way that people want
Yeah.
multi-skilled. But to be
Yeah.
frank, I'll tell you, once they recruit you, they would not be putting you on those kind of projects. Simply for sake
Yeah,
of
yeah. That's why I noticed. I mean, what they're saying is just a minimum knowledge. I mean, just to make a simple change, they just need to have someone who needs. I mean, who knows a little bit of ABAP. So
no.
I can just say that, right?
Yes, what you can say is, I know. See, instead of saying straight away that I don't know the this one,
Okay.
the ABAP, or you can put it indirectly saying that I have the knowledge of the table levels and I can give the logic. So that is how I have been managing all these days. Means like as a
Okay.
functional, you can say like that. So I have a strong knowledge of my table. At the table level, I have got my strong knowledge. So that should be sufficient. So you can say that. Okay.
Okay.
See, even now, ABAP is one requirement. If you go to some other interview, they will say, you know warehouse management, do you know sales and distribution management? So modules. No, this is what is
Yeah.
happening in the market now. This is what is happening. So, but still, they will not end up in getting a good consultant who has got good knowledge of working on on a single module.
That's true. Yeah.
SAP is so vast, so vast. The whole of your lifetime is not sufficient. Okay, and what I have noticed is only in India we used to face this kind of issues like your ABAP knowledge, your multi-module skills, all this. But in US or Canada, there are people who has worked in SAP for only one module from past 15 to 20 years.
That's true. Yes, yes, you're right.
Okay, and they are so
Yeah.
perfect, they are so perfect. Okay, they give accurate solutions, they give accurate solution. And really there was in previous project, that is I was working for an US client, Home Depot Supply. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there was one guy, William Arnold. Okay, so he was into that's it. He doesn't know warehouse management, he doesn't know supplier relationship management, nothing. He was only with respect to
Okay.
and he has worked from past 15 or 20 years. Okay.
If you ask me, I mean, that's how it should be. For such a huge, system, I mean, that's how it should be actually.
Yes, that's how it should be. But some people, just to cut the cost of the company and all these things, they look for these kind of resources, wherein
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
that's right.
difficult. And the thinking is like now SAP is not a new software; it has become old, and
Yeah.
you get plenty of people in the market is what they think, but they don't go for a candidate who is good enough to drive the module. So that is all is happening in the system, in the market. Okay, so we were talking about the this one. Hold on, I'll just show you. I think this GR based invoice is one, your three-way check. But I really did not get your question. Like, see, once I put a check mark on this GR-based IV, right? Then probably until and unless you receive a goods, you cannot post an invoice.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can get the scenario more clear and everything, probably I can look into it and I can update you on that. Because there is a practice, I understand. Like once you create a PO, okay, once you create a PO, then a GR will be done. Before doing the GR, they check the PO quantity going in the system and then they post it. And before posting an invoice, they also check the PO quantity, GR quantity, whatever it has been done, and proceed further.
Yeah, long back, some 8, 10 years back, I worked on a system
Okay.
which was connecting to a ERP barn. You remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. Ban is there.
And we used to have a .NET front end application, and once they scan the invoice and we process it through our front end, business used to do some kind of verification. It wasn't that automated, so they used to talk like two-way, three-way invoice verification.
Okay.
So I don't know much, but that's how
No,
they used to do.
I don't think that practice we follow in SAP, because SAP is more sophisticated ERP compared to your BAN, and even compared to any other ERPs in the current market. Even Oracle also doesn't have this much of flexibility what SAP has got. Your Oracle, your
Okay.
JD Edwards, your BAN, and there was one more, your IFS. All these have gone out of the market now. I think Oracle is still breathing, but the others, whatever we spoke, right? Your JD Edwards, your BAN, IFS, it's all gone. It's not many people are using
Yeah.
it. Not many people are using it. Okay, so this is about your invoicing part. Okay, so this actually completes all the topics in the system. Okay, so whatever we have taken now, uh, that's it. So any doubts, you can call me up or you can drop me a mail. We can have a session, or we can communicate through mails. Okay, and
And I don't have to, Chandra, I don't have to include all these topics in my resume, right? I mean,
no,
for
no,
sure, I mean, some requirement they were asking invoice verification is important, and then
procurement.
special procurement was also there in the requirements.
Okay.
And
See, what I suggest is whatever topics we have covered, okay, other than your consumption based planning, okay, your batch management, okay, all these things.
MRP was also important. Yeah, MRP, they were also looking for MRP. Okay.
Okay. Yes, if that is the case, you need not include it, but in the interview, if they ask any basics questions, we need to be able to answer it. That is what the expectation would be.
Okay.
Okay, that is what the expectation would be. And as I told, sorry, uh, I would suggest you to go to this one. Hold on, I'll just show you so that it should be very helpful for you. So nothing, I just wanted you to go through that help.sap. Okay, so all the topics,
Okay.
whatever I have covered, help.sap if you give, it will give you the whole this one. I hear my system is slow today, so I'm not able to open the Google. Okay, so okay. So help.sap if you put, you'll get that standard SAP help portal. So related to our topics, you can just, if you can just go every day some half an hour or 1 hour, okay, so that is more than sufficient. Any interview you are definitely going to clear. That is what I did. And I have been suggesting this to all the people who take up classes with me.
Chandra, do you know what the tough part for me is? Answering the organization structure of the current client. If they ask any questions on the organization structure, saying how many company codes, how many plants, and how many purchase organizations, and those kind of questions.
You can say, see, you can give example of your current organization itself. You can say like, I have got one company code. We have around 2 plants or 3 plants, or the purchase organization is one. We have a centralized purchase organization. Okay.
Okay.
So see, basically we need to correlate the things. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, we just need to come up with something.
Come up with. You need to link up. We need to fake. That's it. That is what I can say.
Right.
If we are not working, then we need to put it in this way. So if because now we have got all the experience and we know how and what all the process in an organization and how it functions. Other than that, he may not ask anything, right? So one or the other way we can make it up. So not an issue. So what we can do is, today is what? Today is 25th. Okay. Anyways, next weekend, 30th and 31st, I am not there. Okay. Sorry, 31st and 1st.
Okay.
I am out of station. Okay. So we can have one more session on your 6th and 7th. Okay. That is 5th, 6th and 7th. So that you can read up and you can come up with few doubts or few questions, how to put in or how to answer. All these things we can do. Okay. So
yeah, that's great. Yeah.
6th and 7th we can have one more session. Okay. So it will be an interactive session, I can say. Okay. So we'll just discuss topics on randomly.
And we should also ask Shazil and Shruti to attend it too.
Yes, I'll drop a mail. I'll drop a mail to her because today I am going to Murali's place. I'm planning to go to Murali's place based on his availability because
Okay.
all these days I was busy and since I told you, right, I'm switching over the company, and I had got lot of things to cover
Yes.
before I going. So I could not go.
All
Probably
right.
in another 1 hour or 1.5 hours, I'll call Murli, and if he's available, I go and hand over all the recordings to him so that he will upload it, and he will
Okay.
share it with you people, the link. Okay. So once that is done, anyways, I am giving you a gap of 10 days or 12 days, so that meanwhile you can study whatever topics we have covered, and we can come up. Okay. So if you
Yeah,
want,
that would be great, Murad.
if you want me to take up some or discuss some interview questions, I can ask you that also. Not an issue. Okay, means we can discuss on that 6th and 7th of Friday and Saturday. Sorry, Saturday and
Sure,
Sunday,
sure.
Saturday and Sunday, 7th and 8th. Okay. So, but the thing is, you people need to brush up, or whatever topics you want to discuss, you need to go through that and come.
Sure, definitely.
Okay. So that it would be helpful. If I don't know something, give me some time. Let me just go through it, and probably I may reply to you people through mail, or we can have one more session. Not an issue. Okay. So
Yeah, thank you so much, Chandra.
thank you.
It
Thanks.
was really great.
Thanks.
We'll meet again after 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure. And Abdul, one request. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Just wanted you to drop a mail to Murli saying that whatever the topics
Sure.
we have covered, means was there in the syllabus, we have covered. And on
Sure,
the
sure.
8th and 7th and 8th, we would be having a refresher class of that kind. Okay.
Sure,
And
right away. I'll do it. Yeah.
I also need a sincere feedback from your end for me to improve. Means like if anywhere
Sure.
points I need to take up, and I need to do it in a better way, please write that also, so that I will take up as an improvement point, and I would do it. Okay.
Definitely.
Please. Okay.
Thank you so much, Chandra.
Thank you. All the best.
We will
All
meet
the very
again.
best. Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.